It's a tingle.
Excuse me. Get out of the way.
It means you're a baboon. And I'm
I'm talking about like a big bag.
Phenomenal cosmic power!
Welcome back. We have just watched the film. I'll bring it out here, you know, because that was soggy. I forgot my soggy.
Oh
bag.
no, yeah, the
We'll talk
soggy.
about that in a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, well, yeah.
We just watched Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet, everybody.
Available at all good universes.
Yeah,
What did you think? That's the first time you've seen that.
it's the first time I've seen it. I loved that. I really loved that. Because you've got to put it in with all the other. So first of all, I'm a little bit drunk because we'll talk about the drinking rules in a moment. But yeah, one of them in particular didn't go so great my way.
That's true, and apparently it's my fault.
It's nice to see you accepting
I
responsibility.
said
You know, that's an
apparently
important thing to me.
That means nothing to you.
So yeah, I loved it. You got to compare it to other films that I didn't see at the time, so I don't have nostalgia for. So watching them as an adult can go one of two ways, and then you got to put it in perspective of the other films that were around at the time. Of course, this was released the same year as another Disney animated classic in Lilo and Stitch,
Which you also hadn't really seen, or you thought was rubbish.
I'd seen, but yeah, I didn't really care that much for it. I thought
You were young and reckless when you watched it. Now you're old and wise.
and now I'm all wise and buy Stitch hats from my friend Ross.
Yay.
But yeah, how did you feel watching it back after 72 years?
No, I've watched it since it came out. Because obviously I've got it on DVD. I just haven't seen it in the last few years, so I couldn't remember particular details.
Did you need another beer, by the way?
I'm alright, thanks, Ed.
Because I've drank a lot of space grog.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that first. How was Space Grog?
I thought it was quite tasty. I think it's one of the better cocktails we've made.
It was really nice. This was if you didn't know earlier, I've talked about a little slimy thing. The flying saucer things
Yeah.
were a mistake. Don't let them float around in your beverage.
So we didn't know what to do with them. We knew we wanted them as a garnish, but we didn't know how they would manifest.
Jones on garnish.
And what I said at the start was it's a really rubbish Hell's Kitchen episode. It's risotto but garnished with flying saucers.
So, Treasure
Yeah.
Planet. Let us begin
I saw that film.
in the past. Yeah, I know. It's set in the present.
Bum, 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 bum.
Let's go back to 1883.
Shit.
Yeah.
Is that when Robert Louis Stevenson wrote Treasure Island?
Yeah, well, technically, apparently, it was 81, 82, it was serialized. But then it was turned into a book, which was released in 83. The original book was called The Sea Cook, A Story for Boys. That's what it was.
Really?
Yeah. So we've come a long way.
Yeah.
We've just got rid of that bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there it was. It was lovely.
Wait, so was John Silver always a cook?
Yes. Well, he's not always a cook. He pretended to be a cook to get onto the boat.
That's so fucking cool. I just assumed that was entirely made up for the
No,
Disney
there's a
film.
lot of that film which is really accurate. Even some of the scenes are from the book.
Wow.
They've done it really well. There's
Wow.
changes. So in the book, his dad dies at the start, but he's already had fatherly contact with his dad. His dad dies when he's a teenager, so it's it's not a big a deal, is it?
Yeah, get over it.
Yeah. So they made that. They deliberately made that a thing because his dad's gone away, so he's got dad issues. Whereas in the book, he doesn't really. He's kind of just lost a parent. So there's a bunch of different film adaptations. The ones that I've thought are relevant vaguely for this. There's one in 1934, which is the first.
That's the first example of that accent, isn't it? As a pirate.
No, we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
That's 1951. 1934 was the first audio, the film with audio, but obviously black and white in it. The reason I'm mentioning that one is because there's an actor called Wallace Beery, who John Silver. Like if you look at his performance, he like talks out one side of his mouth. He's kind of like a kind of melted man, which is that John Silver thing that you were saying that you really loved his character design. So that comes from a 1934 adaptation. In 1950, I mean, there's been loads. Like basically, if you've got a favorite actor from the past, like Orson Welles or anyone like that, there will be a version of Treasure
James Mason.
James Mason, I think he was.
Yeah, he's probably done one.
Yeah, whether it's radio or TV or film. So yeah, in the 1950s, Disney did one, and it was Disney's first ever fully real, no animation in it whatsoever. For what would you call it? I've written it down. Fully live action film. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. Which starred Bobby Driscoll as Jim boy, Jim lad, drink. Oh yeah, we've not really spoken about that yet.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, so Bobby Driscoll was also the voice of Peter Pan in the original Peter Pan animated, and he was the voice of one of the characters in Song of the South, which we don't talk about, but we will. Point. So there we go. Like, let's stop there to talk about the choices, the drinking choices. Sorry, I jumped ahead there.
No, it's totally fine.
Talking about Jim and Long John Silver. Do you want me to tell you why he's not Long John in this?
Yes.
But he is in the book. Apparently, in pirate days, not just pirate days,
Boat days,
when everyone had a boat.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone had a boat, and now they're all got fidget spinners. What's happened with the world? So, yeah, in the olden days, you would get the addition of long, so you could be Long MiKo.
I like that.
Yeah. But you get that would be a reference to the fact that you were stranded, or your boat, something happened that was bad, and you had to eat human.
You mean you're a cannibal?
Yes. Which was a lot more regular back then when you were on a boat in the middle of nowhere, or stranded on an island.
I'm judging. I'm just
or your friend died, and you're like, "There's free meat, that's fine." And then so they'd be like, "That's Long John thingy," and then everyone would be like, "Oh shit, that's a hard ass bastard, that guy," because they ate human. Because that's why it's called long pig. Well, that's not why it's called long pig, but you know the term long pig.
No.
Human is called long pig because apparently we taste a lot like pig. So that's where the long comes from in pirates' names, or if you see anyone's name is long, not nowadays because nobody does it anymore, obviously. Yeah, we certainly don't put it in front of
my friend Long Sean.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
Don't sleep though. So they got rid of long for his. So yeah, our drinking rules were I got John Silver and you got Jimmy Savile.
You say that like
Jim
we picked
Boy.
out of a hat. What really happened was I asked if those names were roughly equal.
No, you got really you got bored really quick because I was naming all the characters.
Yeah, and I was like,
I
right,
didn't
this
written
is
them
irrelevant.
down.
How many of them are we going to
Yeah,
use?
which are the two of the main ones, and which one do you want? And I went, right, I'll go for John Silver, and you went, right, cool.
You're overstepping some points, and I'm going to be editing this, and I'm going to skip back right now to the point where I said, like, are they roughly equal, or do we need to include more characters on one side of it? And you said, "Can we just split it between Jim and John?" Or
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know because maybe they never say each other's names, but Jim's the main character and John is the secondary influence.
Something along the lines of, yeah, they're pretty much equal, I think. And oh, by the way, I'll take John. You're suspiciously quick to be like, I think they're about equal, but I also definitely know which one I want.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was the most. That's the most uneven our names.
I to be honest, I did not realize how often. Like, I'd like to see a number. I wish I'd got.
It's a lot.
If I'd known that in advance, I would have won.
I would say that was over 50.
That might be maybe
over 60. Yeah,
like a record for films. I don't know.
Yeah,
like Jim.
Yeah,
Jimbo.
It was really crazy.
Hi there, everyone. Future MiKo here. I did actually look this up, and yeah, it wasn't close. So it turns out John Silver is never once in the entire film referred to as John. The name John isn't said in the entire script. Silver is said 9 times. Some version of Jim or Hawkins is said 86 times.
Yeah, like some of the people in our community in the Discord were mentioning, like Todd from Fox and the Hound was said quite a lot. I remember Robin was said a lot in Robin Hood. Yeah, there's when we did Lion King and we got too drunk, Mufasa was one of the reasons why. But yeah, I think that might be a record. It certainly feels like it right now.
Yeah.
Ariel was really big, but we balanced Ariel because you had to pick 3 other names. So it was either Ariel or you had like Triton, Ursula, and Flounder. Do you know what I mean? So
I don't think that would have even worked here though, because there was just so many gyms that you
there was
could-
so that's like basically any other name
yeah.
versus Jim. I think I genuinely think that would probably be the only way to make it fair.
I think Morph maybe.
Maybe Morph and Ben both had their little moments.
Hi everyone, Future MiKo here again. In case you were interested, Ben is said 16 times, Morph is said 42 times. So if you did Ben, Morph and Silver, adding his 9 times, that would make 67 drinks, which is an obscene amount, but at least gets you closer to Jim's 86.
So some of the drinking rules didn't really work. They didn't really say, as you expected, Ethereum very much.
Yeah, because I knew that was the kind of thing they were going for. Was like they would go like, "Here's the thing, get over it." Like, they're not going to be like, "Oh, you want to know more about the science?" You know, it's not like Star Trek. We're like, "Oh, you want to know how the machine works? Oh, we'll show you." It makes it work for her. And blah, blah. They're just like Ethereum.
I really like that though.
I like that as well.
I've always said that with like watching B movies. I don't mind buying into a ridiculous premise if you ask me to, as long as you're then consistent with it. Like we talk about this all the time, like with world building. As long as it's consistent within the world. I think we should have had the word pirate.
Yeah, that would have also killed you, but yeah, because Treasure was good.
Treasure was good. Treasure was a perfect drinking rule because there was moments where it was said multiple times and then we saw it. And then there was 20 minutes where we didn't hear or see from it at all. Yeah. So that was a really good drink.
I love to see the old classic Disney's getting used, the distant or missing parents, because that's fundamental for his character, and I think in that one it really works. Whereas in the other Disney films, sometimes it's like it's just because they don't want to.
I couldn't be bothered drawing the parents. Well, I don't know what they look like.
Well, it's more like, the parents would probably be phoning and asking where you are right now.
This
is kind of fundamental to his journey and his not addiction, but his fascination with John Silver is fundamentally tied into everything. So it's really cool. So we're going to Robert Louis Stevenson quickly before we get into the actual animation.
Robert Louis Stevenson. Shall I go with what I know first?
Yes, good Scottish boy, good Edinburgh boy.
Robert Louis Stevenson's a Scottish author of books and such, and he wrote Treasure Island as well as Jekyll and Hyde. Those are his two big. Those are his two big hits, his big hitters. But he did also do Kidnapped as his come up on our channel.
Absolutely
amazing. It's apparently a very good book. I don't know anything about it, but it's come up on the channel a few times. So it's kind of a meme joke within our Twitch community. But beyond that, did he have any other big ones that I'm missing?
No, not so much. I mean, Weir Hermiston, he did other things, but well, first of all, something to connect to. I don't know if this is morbid. I've been told that I'm very morbid, and I apologize. I really like last words, people's last words.
Of course you do. Yeah.
So Walt Disney, famously, his last words were,
"Freeze my head and bury me under the castle, you cowards."
Also, I hate the Jews. None of those things. Walt Disney's last words were Kurt Russell. Which is great last words. Like I'd want them. So anyway, Walt Disney's last words were Kurt Russell, and Robert Louis Stevenson's last words was, "Does my face look strange?" Which I think is quite a cool one. I like that. He was trying to open a wine bottle. He was, and then he.
The last thing he did before dying was try to open a wine bottle.
Fucking Scottish.
Good old Scottish boy.
And then he asked his wife, "Does my face look strange or like weird?" And then that was him in a coma until he died. I thought that was quite cool.
That's great.
But yeah, so he has links to Moana in a weird way, not Moana particularly, but in general. But he travelled a lot. He was quite ill most of his life. He spent a lot of time in Hawaii. He moved to the Samoan Islands.
Wow.
And he actually helped the Samoan people fight European and American influence.
So maybe this would be like zombies or something. I don't know why. He helped the Samoans fight the zombies.
No, it's really cool. He didn't like the way that European and American influences were happening, and he was like, "You guys are cool. Like, be cool." So he earned the love of the people apparently. So
wow, that's cool.
He wrote his own Requiem, which is a really cool poem, which I'd not really think, but you can go and see it. It's great, and it's. They translated it, and now it's a Samoan song of grief because they loved him so much. So his last things.
That's so cool.
It's really cool. And there's a street in Hawaii named after his Samoan name, which is Tusitala, which means writer of stories. So you go to Hawaii and there's a Robert Louis Stevenson
That's
street.
so cool.
Right, it's called Tusitala Street.
Our Scottish brother was a Polynesian legend.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
I loved him. So there you go. There's a little business about him. I thought that was all kind of vaguely connected because we've been doing, we did Moana and yeah. All right, now we get to this film. Well, we don't get to this film. We don't get to now. The film came out in 2002. We go back to 1985.
When Musker and Clement first decided they wanted to make
102 years after the
Treasure
book was
Island
written.
in space.
Yeah.
Did they always want it to be in space? Do you know?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they were like this.
So was that a unique idea, or did this concept already exist?
I don't know. It feels
Treasure
like quite
Island in
a
space.
like you put like here's the classic book Moby Dick in space.
In space, yeah.
Doesn't sound like that difficult a thing. Yeah. So originally they did a pitch where one of the other pitches they did was Little Mermaid and stuff like that. But this was during the production of Black Cauldron, which, as we know, almost destroyed Disney. Disney had to shrink its animation department down because it was such a failure.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, we want to do this," and they were like, "Well, no, but go and do Basil Great Mouse Detective." By the way, Basil Rathbone did a version of Treasure Island on radio. Who's if you watch,
love Basil Rathbone.
I do. Everyone loves. Like, you just go and watch a Basil Rathbone thing. He's great.
You can go check out our Basil the Great Mouse Detective episode for more Basil Rathbone goodies.
So Basil Grace Basil take off all my clothes. So Basil the Great Mouse Detective, they did that instead. Then in 1989, they directed The Little Mermaid, which they pitched originally in '85. And they said, well, after Mermaid, they're like, let's do this. And they're like, no, do Aladdin. And they're like, fuck's sake. They didn't want to do any of those films. All of these classics, they were like, can we please?
They just wanted to make Treasure Planet.
They wanted to make this film.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And then 1992, they pitched it again after Aladdin. But they were like, no, go and do Hercules. And
Hercules was the next one. Yeah.
This was the point where they were like, right, we're going to do Hercules for you. They were such good boys. We're doing Hercules for you. But the next one has to be Treasure Planet. And I think by the time that this film found its way to cinemas, I think there was maybe 2 or 3 different heads of Disney went through.
Right.
And I think that hurt it. The thing that didn't hurt it was the fact that it took so long that the technology became amazing. So that's what we get. This, like, when you look at all of those things, it's so good, which we'll get into and we'll talk about. In fact, let's talk about it now. 3 different things. Traditional animation. All of the characters.
Hand-drawn stuff, yeah.
All
except Ben.
All except Ben, yeah. CGI. Ben is CGI. John Silver's arm, eye, and leg were CGI.
Right.
With the rest of him, like, can you imagine trying to
animate? It sounds a fucking nightmare.
What they did, which you can see on YouTube, is to test if the CGI would work with real animation, they got out of the archives footage of Captain Hook from Peter Pan. So you can see this on YouTube, it's great. And it's Captain Hook with a cyborg arm.
Oh wow!
And it's only like 10 seconds or something. It's
that's so cool.
I think it's a scene where he's telling Smee to go and get Tinkerbell or something. But yeah, it's the original animation from the film.
CGI his arm.
But with him going deep there, which is really cool. And they were like, this works. And then the third thing that they did was deep canvas. They called deep canvas technology, which they initially created for Tarzan, which you mentioned. You know that bit where he's sliding around the tree branches. So as far as I can make out from watching the stuff that I've watched, what it is a computer animator person will create a whole background, like what to me looks like wireframe, but I'm sure it's more complicated than that. But I'm just going to say wireframe background with all of the bits that can be interacted. Then they send that to a character animator, your traditional animator, who can then move the camera to the point and be like, all right, here's my character, and then draw it from that point of view, draw it from all the points of view, so the character is looking is interacting with the scene, and sometimes with say Tarzan, when he's touching a tree, they'll do like the leaves or the whatever the crap is that comes off it. That's all animated. Then they send it back to, I suppose, the technicians, and then the background animators, and then the background animators just have to color in the bits of the environment that's on display. So it's not all animated. The background.
So it looks almost like that kind of era video games. Like it looked like there was a 360-degree environment almost made, and the camera was moving around it, which obviously is very different to how normal animation looks.
Yeah, but with this, if we had the choice to move the camera, then we'd go around the back of the trees, and they wouldn't have filled in the back of the trees. And then once the painting of the whatever the background is. So the reason they did that was because obviously the ship was almost entirely. It looks, we just go CGI, but it wasn't that. It was CGI, but it was all painted traditionally.
Right.
But you could go in and look around. And
it's amazing,
so
yeah.
It really, really crazy
very,
stuff.
Very cool.
And I think that's probably the most ambitious. Like, wow, I keep saying that. There's always more ambition, isn't there? But the combination of these three things.
Yeah, I would have hated to worked on this film.
Yeah, well, the producer, one of the producers, Ron Conley, I think his name is, estimated there was 1,027 crew members worked on this.
What?
400 artists and computer artists.
1,000?
Yeah. 150 musicians worked on this, and 200...
not just Trent Reznor.
Yeah, not just Trent Reznor from...
Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, I think that's why, part of the reason why maybe we'll get into the whole conspiracy theory about this thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear this conspiracy theory.
Yeah, there were 16 animators for Jim Hawking and 12 for John Silver. So, there was, I think John Ripa, I think is the name, the supervisor for Jim Hawking, who directed Raya the Last Dragon.
Did he really?
Yeah, to Jim Hawking's
awesome film that you should all go
I've
and
not seen
see.
it yet. Yeah, and then John Silver,
yes,
the guy responsible, the supervisor, animation supervisor, our old friend
Glenn Keane.
Yes,
I genuinely, I didn't know that. I got a vibe. I'm so happy. That's probably my biggest Disney nerd moment ever. Is that I recognize?
Because I remember when we were watching the film,
supervising animator,
it's really well animated.
Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, I had absolutely no idea of that. I'm very proud of that. And proud, ashamed, I'm not sure.
Proud of my Glenn.
Yeah. So who voiced John Silver? Because it was an Irish accent, but it wasn't a perfect Irish accent, so I'm guessing they weren't Irish. But it was. It worked for the character, but because it was kind of an amalgamation. There was a bit of Scottish and a bit of English in there. It worked, but it clearly wasn't their natural voice, so I couldn't figure out who it was. But I thought they did great.
Thank you very much for reminding me, because you mentioned that the accent in the 1950 Disney film, the 1950 Disney film of Treasure Island, was really influential for the idea of pirates in general.
Yeah, it was the one that invented the farmer pirate. Yeah,
Long John Silver, that actor who I can't remember, but he's on the Google, so you can check him out. But yeah, he came up with that, and it's the kind of West Coast yar.
Yeah, me combine harvester and me black pearl.
And that hadn't been done before, and then suddenly everyone's doing it, and then all pirates come from the West Coast of like Cornwall.
Yeah. Very weird.
The other weird thing, like cutlasses, from that film, because they got their sword delivery from I can't remember exactly the story, but it's really stupid. It's like they got a cheaper thing, so everyone just had cutlasses. Which isn't what pirates use.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but now everyone just assumes they go, "Oh, I'm a pirate," and it's and it's from Disney's 1950s version of this.
That's great. I
which
didn't know that.
is so stupid. But yeah, the guy that played him never really had a strong TV or film career. He was a theater actor. The only two characters in this that they had already figured out, they very much written for them, was Emma Thompson and Niles from Frasier, who I should probably give his proper name, David Hyde Pierce.
Yeah, didn't care for it.
Oh.
I had his moments, but it just didn't seem.
Do you know what? I really like him.
Yeah, I thought he did well, but yeah, I felt like that character had more of a disconnect from the movie than some of the other ones, which is often how I feel about these when you get celebrities in to do voices, basically.
Mm-hmm. But
and
this
one was
written
in.
from. I think he's got a natural voice.
Yeah, the part perfectly fit him, but I don't think that was the best way to do the part. I think that character could have had much of the same things, but could have fit the story better, more seamlessly, if they weren't tweaking it to get him in.
I like the way you thought that he was when I said there's a Jar Jar character in this. You know, like, oh, is it him? And then no.
The Furry Boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You thought.
Yeah, I thought the Furry Boy was
yeah.
the Jar Jar character.
Yeah, it was Ben.
Yeah.
Which we'll get.
Who we didn't meet until like 4/5 of the way through the film.
Yeah, an hour into the film.
Yeah. Which was interesting, which is probably a way of avoiding him getting too annoying, maybe. I'm not sure.
Again in the book, Ben
really
Gunn, I think the character's name. They find him on the island, and he helps them get to try. It's like the same thing. So they, but he wasn't supposed to have got so much.
I'm surprised at how much
screen time. It's because Martin Short, who plays him, improv so much.
Oh, is it Martin Short?
Yeah, they did that thing where they let a comedian.
I was trying to figure out who it was, and then I decided to stop. Because you know that way where it kind of takes you out the moment because you're too busy trying to place the voice, and then when you do, you're not as invested in the character. They were clearly going for a Robin Williams genie type vibe.
Well, they did exactly the same thing that they did in Aladdin, which was just let him go and riff, and then they were like, "Oh, we're going to keep all."
Just get an all-time comedy great and and let them go.
And I don't know if it works. So
I don't think it's that level, but I mean, you're talking comparisons to the GOAT. Like that is the best example of comedic voiceover acting probably ever, right? Like it's at least going to be in the conversation. You might be able to think of other ones that might be up there with it, but no one's going to write a list of the top 5 comedy animation voiceovers ever and not include Robin Williams as Genie. So to even stand on that tier is an absolute huge compliment. And I thought Ben was really good. I didn't think it was annoying. I thought they were funny. I thought it was animated really well.
Well, what's crazy is his was the only obviously fully CGI animated character, and then they had to render it flat to
fit in with the world.
So
As I said to you before, I don't know if we're recording at the time. I think that would be my one criticism of the film. I don't think all of that works as smoothly as they were hoping it would. Maybe it did, because we spoke with some people in the community and they didn't notice some of the things I noticed, so maybe it does work completely smoothly for most people. And I just was looking for those things, maybe because I knew they were there anyway. But yeah, I felt very much like it was layered. Until I felt like I could see how the pie was made. Do you know what I mean? Which
I think
makes
whenever
the
they
pie
put
less tasty.
CGI next to traditional animation, especially at this era,
well, again, like say there's so I mentioned King Kong earlier, where like how the effects in that aged really badly, really quickly, and then you look at something like Casper the Friendly Ghost or Jurassic Park, which were made a decade beforehand, and still hold up today. Like sometimes there's a bit where you're being too experimental, and it ages because we get better at it. I think if you look at something like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, that works brilliantly.
That's cheating.
It's animation in real life, but they'd been doing animation in real life for so long that they'd kind of perfected it at that point. So even that film was made in what, the late 70s? Early 80s? Like it was a long time ago.
Is that not the only film where Disney and Warner Brothers were allowed themselves to touch?
Yeah. You see Donald and Daffy Duck and Mickey and Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good film. If you haven't seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but the way they mix the live action and animation is perfect. And I think in this, when you're mixing different styles, I don't think it was as smooth. Again, maybe it's just because I've watched too many animated things for a grown man.
Yeah, you need to stop, sir.
But yeah, I felt like there were certain moments where I was like, I can see where that was a separate thing that you put in and then you added that bit on, and that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But I didn't care. That's the most important thing, though. That's what we should focus on. I didn't care because if we were to rank all of Disney's animated classics based on animation accomplishment, right? Either through innovation or execution, I don't think this would rank that high. Other than having the gall to be like, let's do 3 different animation types in one thing. Yeah, but it's like saying let's make in Friends where they make a trifle with meat. Like it's jelly, it's custard, it's meat. Like you tried something, but it doesn't work. So yeah, I think in terms of animation execution, I don't think this stands up with the elite in Disney's back catalogue. However, as we both know, that doesn't really matter. You could get an animated film that was made by 2 people on a shoestring budget, but if the heart is there and the character is there and the key moments are delivered in the right way, then none of that matters. So that's why I don't really care, because I felt like I really cared about the characters. I really liked them. I really liked the story. I liked the vibe. I liked the whole, like, it sold me so quickly on we're going on an adventure, and I was like, yeah. And that's really hard to do. Like, so few films are able to just do that so quickly.
Could you imagine if it was real space as well?
Yeah.
No, they'd be like, right, here's the suit.
Yeah, it would be rubbish. Exactly, yeah. Like, so they were just so quick and successful at saying, here's a character. They like adventure. You like adventure? Hey, what about treasure? How did it get there? Who the fuck knows? Let's watch a movie. You're like,
well,
yeah,
actually,
let's
that
go.
goes back to the intro.
Mm-hmm.
I think was really, really good, really well done. You might have noticed there was apparently a secret Mickey. I didn't see that.
Never noticed them.
No, but there was a secret. This guy.
There's a Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch?
A Twitch. There was a Twitch.
We need to stream. There was a secret Stitch.
Yeah, there's a little Stitch toy in his shelf in the background when she was chatting to him.
Nice.
But even just that concept of like going, hey, it's a Disney film, and then this amazing voice who is an actor who we'll get to later, but
whoa, I love the mystery.
yeah, him go, there was a pirate and all that stuff, and then finding out that it's not the start of a Disney film we're watching, it's the start of a book that the kid in the Disney film is watching.
Yeah.
And then they cut to him being older, and it's just all so well done, like that. To sum up a character so quickly, it's so well done. It
reminded me of Princess Bride almost a little bit, like just with the having the story being read by a character that's I really liked it. It got me in very, very quickly. I was very impressed at how quickly it got me ready for the adventure. And like I say, I think there's lots of other films that try and do that and fail in that, or are aware that they're insecure. They feel like they need to do a little bit more. Like Atlantis is a good example of a film that I think wanted to do the same thing as Treasure Planet. Wanted to go, hey, here's your main character. They're going to find Atlantis. You think Atlantis sounds fucking cool? You're fucking right. It sounds fucking cool. Let's go find fucking Atlantis. And we'd be like, woo! But that's hard to do. And so they needed to have all this other stuff, motivation, and who's the other characters. It was good. I sound like I'm shitting on Atlantis. You know me. I liked Atlantis.
Great.
But I think this was better.
Kind of similarities. That they went different ways with the whole steampunk.
One went up instead of down.
Yeah, the steampunk aesthetic. I think they both were doing that. It was interesting. Like, Disney were like, actually, Disney, the corporation, I don't think they wanted to do either of those things. But they were like, we want to do sci-fi, but we can't do it like everyone else does it. So we're either going to do it like 1940s steampunky Jules Verne sci-fi, or we're going to do it this weird, kind of amazing way. Which brings me on to the 70-30 ratio, which is something that people say on the internet. I don't know why. And I don't
Boobs to
care.
bums.
Is that what that is?
You should have 70 boobs to every 30 bums you see.
Or your money back. Come to our restaurant.
Just the new Hooters slogan, yeah.
Yeah, so what they Clements and Musker put on this was 70 to 30% ratio, which was 70% of everything should be old.
Okay.
And in particular, they were looking at kind of like oil paintings and old book illustrations from around, I think it's the Edwardian era when the book came out. And then for every 70% thing, looks like a boat.
Yeah,
30% of it,
give turbo boosters.
Yeah, give it those things, and they kept that consistent in the music, in all the design. So everyone's in these old school outfits and stuff, but then occasionally there's even Dr. Doppler when he's like, oh, we're going to space, and he's in like one of those old diving really ancient diving things, but it's got like slightly different. So that was their way of being like, we want to keep this grounded at all times. Like going back to the Ethereum, we're like, we don't want to go to space. Nobody cares about space. It's boring. It's like it's thousands of years of nothing. So it's 70-30. The music, the sound design as well. So John Silver's
Jay in our Discord said a while back, I've been thinking a lot about the soundtrack. James Newton Howard did such an amazing job for the soundtrack to this movie.
He did. I've got a thing about that. He did it in 5 months.
The whole movie.
Yeah. So Alan Silvestri was supposed to do it, but he left to work on Lilo and Stitch.
Oh. Okay.
So James Newton Howard came in and did it in 5 months, and
wow.
Obviously he was given the whole 70-30 ratio.
Yeah.
And also told like do a little bit Star Warsy, do a little bit kind of old school stuff. And I
thought it was epic. I thought there was a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean in there. Obviously, this was before. I say obviously. I think this was before the relaunch of Pirates of the Caribbean.
We've got Pirates of the Caribbean coming out.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the music was very dun 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 dun. Like there was. During that opening segment that you were saying, like with the fights and it was very cool.
Oh, that opening segment! I suppose while we're there, the voice actor of the pirate, what's his name?
John Silver. Screen.
No, the Blake guy. What's his name?
Blake.
Flint.
Oh, right. Oh, the
one that
original,
we're all talking about. That's Peter Cullen.
Okay.
Who's as everyone knows, Optimus Prime.
Everyone knows. I mean, he's on other things.
Optimus Prime. That was terrible, but yeah. So yeah, 70-30. Oh yeah, I was gonna say the John Silver's like all the whirring little mechanisms and stuff. They went to antique shops and places to find wind up toys and little noises. They didn't want to have any electronic stuff. So like if you've got the sound design of the film is all about that kind of realism. Not
wow, so it's all taken from real mechanical sounds.
Yeah,
that's fucking cool. That is really cool.
It's very cool.
James Newton Howard is one of Jay's favourite composers. Well, based on the one film I now know he's composed.
Yeah, you'll have met him a lot.
Yeah. He's in other things. Yeah, he was
he's
very good at this. Really, really like this.
So let's talk about the writers, unless you want to say something.
Yeah, no, let's go. Were the writers Musker and Clements, or did they just direct it? Was it written by other people?
They directed it. I think they did write it. I've just skipped kind of the other writers.
Other writers, yeah.
The idea was them, so you know. So Rob Edwards. He wrote The Princess and the Frog.
Ooh, good. One of my favourites.
He consulted on Tangled.
Also very, very good.
Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen.
Oh, wow. Right, so they're in charge of the entire fucking, what's that called? I was going to say the redistribution era. That's not what it's called. There's the Renaissance, the revival era. That's what it's called. The revival era, not the redistribution.
You get a frog, and you get a frog. We're giving everyone frogs back. I apologize.
Oprah's in charge.
He also wrote 2 episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the day.
Oh, nice. Okay, there you go. There's
And
a
he did,
CV if you ever
he did
need
some
one.
voices in Princess and the Frog as well.
Mm-hmm.
So another writer of this was Ted Elliott.
Ted Elliott.
Yeah, Ted Elliott. You know
Yeah.
Ted Elliott?
Yeah, he just messaged me actually.
Yeah. What's he saying? Stop talking about me. I'm blushing.
He said, don't miss out on the hottest shows near you with priority tickets from
Wow.
O2. We're talking Swedish House Mafia, Rod Stewart, Conan Gray,
Oh,
Bianca Del Rio, Joe McElderry, and more.
hot singles in your area now, including Rod Stewart. What a hottie.
He probably is single again,
I have
isn't
no idea.
he? Oh, I'm phoning my voicemail. Shut up. Sorry, you were saying.
That's all right. So Ted Elliott.
Ted Elliott. He
Yeah,
just called me.
He just called you. It's about Rod Stewart, and you're busy.
Yeah.
He wrote Shrek.
Of course he did.
He also
Best
wrote.
movie.
He also wrote Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. Okay.
He also wrote Aladdin.
When you say write, you mean screenplay? Do you mean like?
He's
like
got a
plot,
writer's credit.
dialogue? Right. Okay.
So I don't know exactly
Okay.
the details. Aladdin, and he did the full Aladdin TV show.
Oh.
And then his writing counterpart, Terry Russo, did
Mm-hmm.
all of the same, plus Godzilla vs. Kong, which we loved.
Great film. There, he's better then.
Yeah.
He's the better.
Yeah.
He did all of that plus
Yeah.
Godzilla v Kong.
And what I'd like to see is Godzilla vs. Shrek, where Shrek's in it for like 2 seconds. It gets,
Just
face
gets destroyed.
melted. That
just,
would be amazing.
just instant death for old Shreky boy.
Yeah. So there you go. There's some Shrek and Pirates of the Caribbean. So those two basically made Pirates of the Caribbean off the back of this. And people were saying like pirates aren't hot. You shouldn't do pirates here now, and
Pirates aren't hot.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Depp came out and just
yeah, and then they did Pirates of the
slapped
Caribbean
them all
after
across the
this.
face. Yeah. And I think Jim Hawkins was pretty damn hot.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. Ditto. You'd think, we've got
Me too.
We've got some weird little creature, right? Who are gonna do the voice? You're gonna
Frank
Frank
Walker Velka.
We're not gonna get him.
Not going to get him because he retired from credited roles after Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
Fun Disney fact.
So who else are you gonna get? Tell you who you're gonna get.
Jim Cummings.
The
The guy, the really handsome guy.
You're not gonna get this.
Okay.
It was the sound designer himself.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
much like Lilo and Stitch, who the Chris Sanders, the director, played Stitch.
Mm.
The sound designer did the voices, the voice noises for Ditto.
When you say Ditto, are you talking about Morph?
Yeah. Why did I call him Ditto?
Don't know, but you've done it so time.
Yeah, many times. I think that might be a Pokemon thing. I think I've done a Pokemon thing.
That's disgusting.
Retroactively pretend I
hate
never
that.
said yeah. No.
Yeah, I'll fix it in post, Ross.
Yeah, thank you very much
Don't
for
worry.
this in post. Make me look good. So, 2 pop songs written by the Goo Goo Dolls. John Resnick, not the other guy.
Not Trent Reznor.
Yeah. It's like reverse, it's like Mirror Universe.
Do you want me to look up and see if Trent Reznor did do the music for Soul? So there you go, Trent Reznor. Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. I was right.
Good.
Composed the score for Soul, the jazz movie.
Oh yeah, I should say the Jim.
Drink forevermore for the rest of my life.
At the start, he's a James Dean character who's like wearing really dark clothes and a leather jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the course of the film, his clothes get lighter and lighter, and then at the end of the film, he's wearing
He's
white.
naked.
He's,
Oh, yeah.
he's naked and crying,
Yeah.
like the rest of us. So they did a little journey with his outfits, which is really cool.
That is very cool. Do you know other film they did that with?
Loads. I think that's a regular thing, right?
But or at least the one that's, I was going to say most famously, but the one that jumps to my mind is Beauty and the Beast, which we've still never watched together. Ever.
Have we not? No, we must have
No.
watched that together.
Never?
Shut up. You lie.
No, I tell truth.
How about now?
We never got to the Renaissance together.
Wow. Ooh, interesting.
So yeah, we've never done Beauty and the Beast, but Bells, they use red and blue as colours of good and evil in that, and there's a transitional period where we see purple and stuff.
It's just great. It's lovely. All right, let me talk to you about a Scottish fiddler I know.
Okay.
No, so the last song there, which is called "Silver Leaves," which is the little happy bit at the end.
Okay.
Alistair Fraser, I think, is a guy who gets some credit for being like co-writer of that. So he's a Scottish fiddler, which is the old violin, if you will.
A violin, but played awesome.
Yeah,
Makes it a
played
fiddle.
cool.
Yeah.
So you can go and get fiddle courses in Skye, Isle of Skye.
From him?
From him, yeah.
Really?
And he's also done.
We were in Skye.
I know, we should have got fiddle courses, and we didn't.
We should have gone to get fiddled by the guy from.
He's a Clapmannon guy, and
Wow.
he also did. He's done loads of films like Last of the Mohicans and Titanic. Like if you hear the violin in Titanic or Last of the Mohicans or this, it's him playing.
Wow.
Good old Scottish boy. It's all about the Scottish boys. Yeah, so
And I want to hear about voices.
yeah, we're going to get into the voice actors here. So as I said earlier, there's two of the roles they specifically wrote for actors. One of them was David Hyde Pierce,
Which is
Niles.
Yeah.
They made that, and Emma
From
Thompson.
Frasier.
They wanted Emma Thompson. She loved it. This is her first voice role.
Really?
Yeah, and she was like,
Oh,
it's amazing.
wow.
And also it's an action character, and she's like, I don't get to play them.
She absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
One of my, probably my favorite character in the whole movie.
Emma
had a-
Thompson is one of my favorite actors.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She was a great character. She was phenomenal. Because she's Merida's mum. Is it also her that's in How to Train Your Dragon? She's great. Great actor, great voice actor. Those two aren't always the same, but she absolutely can straddle that horse.
She was pregnant during this, so I think the end, which is another thing we could talk about. So at the end, when they got the babies with Dr. Doppler and her, so it's a little homage to her, like kind of being pregnant during the making of this, but also the original screenplay had them acknowledging that the doctor was the one that gave birth, but Disney did not like that. They were like, that goes against everything.
Science and nature.
Yeah, you've got the Ethereum and all this stuff, and they're like, yeah, but it will creep children out if like a man is pregnant. So they got rid of it, which is a bit of a shame. But
yeah, it is a shame. Yeah.
Yeah. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt Hawkins.
Jam.
So the guy at the beginning who's telling the story from the book, with that amazing voice, when the pirates came, that's Tony J.
With a question mark.
Well, it's my writing. It's my writing, so who knows? He was the voice of Frollo from the wee boy with the humpback.
Oh, Claude Frollo.
The bad guy in.
I was wondering. I was like, why do I recognize the name Frollo?
I think it's Frollo.
Yeah. Claude Frollo.
And then like he's done loads of voice work. And you'd recognize him.
Fire.
You'd recognize him because he's been in loads of stuff, and like and then notably from Disney point of view, he was Shere Khan in Jungle Book 2, which I think I mentioned. Yeah, he's not George.
There's no George Sanders. The original Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, there was a few YouTube videos that I watched where they were like the voice of Shere Khan. I was like, no, he's not. Wait, hold on, is he? And then I was like, wait, is everything wrong? And I was going back through it, and I was like, no, he wasn't the original, but he is.
Yeah, okay.
The secondary, so
the original voice of Shere Khan, the greatest listening villain of all time. Don't at me. was voiced by George Sanders, who was also the original Mr. Freeze in the Batman TV show, which is something I bring up just to keep Ross's attention if I'm talking about Jungle Book for too long.
Patrick McGoohan. Is an amazing actor who you will know.
Of course, me and Paddy go way back.
From The Prisoner. If you've ever seen The Prisoner, I don't know.
Is that the one with Jake Jake Jellybean and Hugh Jackman?
They might have remade
Or
it.
Russell Crowe?
I'm
not sure.
I don't know. They
It's
remade
really
it.
long. There's a camper van and some kids. Someone ties someone up in a bathroom.
Definitely not. No.
Oh, okay. What was it called? Prisoners?
The Prisoner was The Prisoner was a TV show. It was really famous for being weird. So Patrick McGoohan is the guy who wakes up. It turns out it's this like little idyllic village. I think it's in Wales or like an island.
Mm-hmm.
He wakes up and he's got a number, and this is where the thing I'm a human being. I'm not a number. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
Everyone just calls him number 26 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a big ball. Like if he gets out of hand, this big kind of inflatable ball comes and attacks him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like 60s television thing, really, really, really famous. And
Can anyone figure out what I was talking about, please, and put it in the Discord stream chat? It's called Prisoners the Movie, released in 2003 with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. I remembered it. Jake Jellybean and Wolverine.
Yeah, you Philistines don't know anything about 60s television.
Yeah.
Michael McShane. You will know Michael McShane. He was a big
improv.
Yes.
The big fat guy from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
Wow.
He was Hans, but he was also in Bug's Life. He was in Robin Hood, the Kevin Costner Robin Hood, which we'll get to, and he was in Balto.
Balto is my lady's favourite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Our family watched that every year at Christmas.
Oh, that's cool.
Balto and Elf. Those were their two films.
Emma Thompson we talked about. Apparently she was also Miss Teapot in the live action Beauty and the Beast. I haven't seen that. No, but Emma Thompson's great, so that's cool. Martin Short, in this year, he was Ben in this. He was.
See who? Give us some Martin Short stuff, because I think a lot of people listening to this
again,
might not know who he is.
I'm old, so
you forget that not everyone's as old as you.
He was up there with Steve Martin and people like that. So he was in the Three Amigos. Yeah,
he was from Saturday Night Live. And he was a very successful comedy human in the 80s, I'd say was this time. Yeah, Three Amigos was him, Steve Martin and Chevy Chase.
Yeah. And then he was in Inner Space, where what's his face was injected into him, and that's great. That. You've not seen Inner Space? Oh.
Missy has pointed out that Martin Short played Jack Frost in the Santa Claus 3.
Well, we'll get to the Santa Claus 2.
Actually.
Yeah, this is all connected. Michael Wincott, we'll go with that. The evil Crab Hands boy.
Yes.
Yeah, so Robin Hood, that's where I know him from, because, it's so amazing. The Robin Hood from the 90s with...
Men in Tights?
Kevin, it was the one before that inspired that one.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner, yeah. I'm Robin of Locksley. You come from England, boy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Robin of Locksley, and this is my friend.
Steal from the rich and give to the poor this summer.
I loved that as a kid, and as I said, Mike McShane was Friar Tuck in that film.
Yes.
So, we've got some other people, but Bob Bergen, who plays Porky Pig nowadays, he's the one that does... Roger Bumpus, who plays Squidward. These days, he's in Shrek.
SpongeBob! I haven't seen SpongeBob in years. I've only seen a couple of episodes ever. So I don't really know what he speaks like. But I think does he have a voice like that?
SpongeBob. No, it's more like this. SpongeBob.
Like more down.
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
Corey Burton.
You were late again to work. Why do you think you'll grow up to be, SpongeBob? We're too old to know SpongeBob. I'm sorry. That's the generational thing. We are.
I'm young.
You're too old to do a lot of the things
I'm
you
full
do.
of fibre.
You're not full of fibre. You've not pooed in weeks.
Don't tell everybody.
I can see it in your face. You got poop up around your eyeballs.
It's a challenging thing.
Yeah.
Corey Burton played Onus.
Mm-hmm.
He was Moliere. Remember the cool one from Atlantis? Yeah, I think he's the one that's burrowing everywhere.
That's the mole man.
Yeah, Moliere. Or he's the.
You refer to him as the cool one?
Well, there's two cool. I like the. Cool
He's not cool though. Mole.
Yeah, it's
The
either
cool
that
one's the
one or the
explosion
explosion
guy,
guy.
yeah.
I'm not sure which one Moliere is.
Okay.
We'll figure that out in the future. We'll do that in post.
Wait, who did he play?
He played Onus in this, which is I think is the little eyeball guy that's
Okay.
all eyebally. Roscoe Lee Brown is who you're looking for Mr. Arrow.
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Yeah.
What did they do?
He played Francis in Oliver and Company. Was the thing that I could find that we could relate to. Laurie Metcalf was Jim's mum. You know Laurie Metcalf? You know Laurie Metcalf.
Oh, aye, for the Peach Cobbler assassins.
Yeah. Roseanne's sister from Roseanne.
Is she actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
she was in
pretty
Toy
close to
Story.
Peach Cobbler assassins.
David Hyde Pierce, as you know, he was in Bug's Life, he's in Hercules TV series, and Osmosis Jones.
Wait, who was that? John Silver.
David Hyde Pierce, the one that you already figured out.
Oh, Miles.
Mm.
Okay. Niles, not Miles.
Brian Murray played John Silver, mostly theatre. He's in an episode of Pete, Person of Interest. So,
Is he?
yeah, I'll need to check that out because that's something we love. The boat that they were in was called the RLS Legacy. RLS,
I noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, RLS standing for Robert Louis Stevenson, and Legacy obviously standing for the word legacy.
Yeah.
We talked about Stitch being on the bookshelf at the start.
Yeah.
The contest between Jim and John Silver with Morph in the middle, that was improv.
Oh.
Because I'm assuming that's because young whippersnapper boy, what's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Thank you very much. Too many names. He actually asked for the actor that was John Silver to be in the room with him because he couldn't act.
Can we just talk about how great he did?
He did great.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like he really, I would have, if you told me that was no one I'd ever heard of and it was just a professional voice actor, I would have believed you, which is a huge compliment for people that aren't into the voice acting world. Like that's it's so often a hindrance when there's a celebrity involved because they have a recognizable voice, like with Niles from Frasier being in this. Sometimes you're just wanting the voice, or sometimes you don't even care about the voice, you just want the name recognition, like we talked about with that game, 12 Minutes or whatever it was called the other night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a link there as well.
Oh really?
A little
Okay.
Vaguely.
But yeah, having the ability to act a character when your face can't be seen, it's really difficult, and not everyone can do it. And I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt clearly put effort into it, and I think did it really, really well. I think him and Emma Thompson, which made your boy Niles stand out to me as kind of not on that level. And I don't think it was their fault. I don't think they did anything wrong. I just think that Emma Thompson and Joseph Gordon-Levitt came with that professional shit. They came in as voice actors, and sort of set that standard. Yeah. And so that's how I felt. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, you carry on. You were saying. Yeah, so
Joseph Gordon-Levitt asked to be in the same room as Brian Murray when they were doing the scenes because he was young. He's like a little kid, like doing. I think it was doing 30 Rock. Or, no, not 30 Rock. What's the
Third Rock
from the Sun? Or it was that was in the middle of that or something. But yeah. Oh, this is the first major feature film released in normal cinemas and in IMAX.
Oh, for really?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone cares, really, do they?
That's pretty cool. I care.
Does anyone care about IMAX anymore?
I've only seen one film in IMAX, and it was Mad Max Fury Road, and it was fucking baller. Like, I'd absolutely recommend seeing Mad Max Fury Road in IMAX.
But would you have enjoyed it normal Max?
Probably, but not as much. Like, I definitely felt like I was looking side to side and stuff. Like it did feel very immersive and very cool. But maybe I'm biased because I saw a really good film when I saw it. What have you seen at IMAX? Because you must have gone to IMAX. You're
I
a
don't
nerd.
see. I wouldn't notice if I did. I think I saw it. I went to see a Harry Potter.
Right.
But all I remember is it was too big. So you'd be like, someone would be talking over there, and then you have to look over there and it would be like a 2-shot, and it really annoyed me. I think that's all I remember. I don't know. It's like 3D. I'm like, just.
You hate 3D. You're a big hater of 3D.
I hate 3D, and I hate having to look at
things in my face.
Stuff happening.
Go and watch on Ross and MiKo's YouTube channel. Ross and MiKo will talk about Wreck-It Ralph, which we went to see in 3D at the cinema. If you want to hear more organic 3D rants from Ross.
Organic. So, this film lost 79 million in the box office.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, it didn't do very well, and we'll talk about that and what we think about that in a moment.
Okay.
Ben sings the Pirates of the Caribbean song, which you noticed when he runs away. Yeah, so that's from the Pirates of the Caribbean
boat ride.
Boat ride, yeah. So this was like a year or two before the actual film started.
Yeah, even the Pirates of the Caribbean film only references that line once in the whole film because, you know, there was some questionable lyrics in that song, which have changed now. But, you know, they worked for pirates, but maybe not so much for a worldwide family attraction. And they've added Jack Sparrow into the actual ride.
Of course they have.
But if you were a fan of the original boat ride, as 7 or 8 people in the world were, it was basically It's a Small World ride, but it had rum and pirates. But it was nothing super exciting. But people made a thing. But there was lots of references to individual scenes. There's they had an animatronics of like prison guards trying to get a dog that had the keys to the cell, trying to lure it over with bones, which they have in the film.
Yeah, and I've looked at that. Originally, Disney signed up to co-produce this with an Italian animation studio called Rainbow SLR, because they'd made a spacey Treasure Planet TV show.
Oh.
And apparently they just went, now we're busy.
Oh, wow, okay.
How weird is that? Disney goes like, we don't want to step on your intellectual property. Do you want to hop on this? And they were like, nah, it's cool. Isn't that weird?
It's pretty weird.
It's pretty weird. Interesting. All right, so Tom Cruise, Michael J. Fox, Anthony Michael Hall, and Jared Leto, your buddy.
Best Joker ever.
They were all considered for Jim.
Okay.
Do you think their best boy got it?
Given his performance, I'd say yeah. I think he. You know me, I think we're very similar. I don't really get super excited at the idea of celebrities voicing characters in Disney films. I understand for smaller studios, it's good to get name value in. I understand why Cartoon Saloon do it, or why Studio Ghibli American redubs have done it. But yeah, I don't think you need to do it with Disney. I think you can just say, here's a Disney film, and most of your money is going to come from young kids and the families that they drag with them to see it, and they don't really care who Emma Thompson is or Joseph Gordon-Levitt, for example. So I don't think it's necessary, but I think he did really, really well. And I think if you're going to get a celebrity person in to do it, which it seems like they were going to do regardless, I think they did incredibly well. I think there's people that are bad at doing it. There's people that do the job fine. And then there's other people that kind of blend into the background. And he did that in a good way. Like, he kind of was forgettable, almost, like, which sounds like a huge insult, but is a huge voice acting compliment. Like, his character, the voice wasn't meant to, like, it didn't stand out because it felt so natural. It fit in with what was going on. Whereas, like, the Nihilus character, every time he spoke, it felt like we were taken out of the movie and being put into his little scene of saying something weird and awkward. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think a little bit.
Whereas I feel like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's was very understated and very smooth, and it just worked. So I thought he did fantastic.
Why did this film fail?
I think it's your fault.
I mean, I did try really hard to make it fail.
There was a lot of you standing outside Cineworlds with Molotovs.
Less of this.
Yeah, down with the sort of thing. Why did it fail?
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting question, Ross. I would say that it was purely due to the time. It was the fact that Disney had had its most successful period ever, and the kids that were watching those films now grown up and weren't watching Disney films, and they changed the formula. Less princesses, more explosions, right? That was their whole thing for Atlantis. And they hadn't had the big return at the box office, so people would just kind of expect there's a new Disney film out, who cares? So that was why. It was going to happen regardless of the film. I don't think it was anything to do with the quality of the film.
Would it shock you to your core to learn?
It was the most successful of the Dark Age.
No,
Second Dark
they
Age.
were making a sequel and a TV show.
No, not at all.
Not
There's
only
a
were
lot
they
of
doing
lore
that,
there.
The sequel, here's the story of the sequel. They were going to have Jim was in the Academy of Spacey People, and their fastest boat ever gets stolen by a guy, I think it's called Ironbeard, who would be played by Willem Dafoe. So yeah, Ironbeard was gonna steal the fastest ship, and then they were gonna get Jim to reconvene with John, and they would all come back together to try and catch the ship. And then there was a whole exciting thing. It was so in production that your man was 30 minutes away from coming in to record his first lines of dialogue.
Wow.
When they got the phone call to be like, this isn't happening anymore. That's how in production.
Wow.
the
They
sequel
really,
was.
really were going for it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's really crazy. And then also, the TV show was cancelled. And so this came out when Harry Potter 1 came out. So we're getting to the conspiracy aspect of this.
Right, so you've been teasing me with this for the longest.
Look at my little tease.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so the idea is
Tickling my scrotum with this since we started this.
they went through a whole bunch of different, like, Katzenberger, all these people, changed, blah, 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 blah. And then they put so much money into it. And this was when the money people were looking at CGI things like Shrek and being like, we need to get rid of these old farty artists and we need to do CGI stuff.
Yeah.
And this was their attempt to be like, no, we're still important. We can we can do that with this and do that with this and stuff. So what Disney did was they released this this is a summer film. They released it in November. They released it at the same November that they knew this is the same day Harry Potter #1 got released.
Okay.
So problems.
Yeah.
They also released it the same day as another film they had, I think, Santa Claus 2.
Okay. We talked about, you said Santa Claus was going to come into this.
Yeah, so it's already going up against another Disney film.
Yeah.
It's going up against that. So what else have we got here? So Harry Potter, Die Another Day, Solaris, Star Trek Nemesis, no one cares about. Lord of the Rings 2. Basically, they could have held it off until, but they didn't. They were just like, now we'll just throw it out. One of the YouTube guys that I watched, I think he summed up really well. It was like, this film got sent out to die. It's like, you know, the Gladiator things open, and then you've got Harry Potter 1 there that everyone's going fucking nuts about. You've got two guys that are owned by the same person that owns you. They're like, yeah, you go and do that. You go and fight your corner. So, and they didn't promote it really well, because at that point, actually, Lilo and Stitch was being promoted more.
So why would they do that, though? Here's how we get to the conspiracy, right? I see the conspiracy forming, which is basically that Disney didn't want it to do well. Why?
Well, because they had promised these guys a sequel and a TV show. And the idea is they didn't want to do them.
Oh.
Yeah, they were like, we want to move on to CGI stuff. We want to move on to what everyone else is doing, what Pixar is doing.
Right.
You're old school. We want to get rid of you. Because a lot of all of these animator guys, although they have done stuff since, but in Disney, the only people, the old school animators, are not employed in the film industry anymore. They're just doing stuff. So it was kind of like a step down, you've done your business, thank you very much, let's bring in the new people kind of thing.
Wow.
Which is a horrible way to think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is these guys' lifelong dream of making this film.
And they still do hand-drawn stuff.
And they tried so hard, to make their art part of the modern art and everything in between. And and Disney were like, nope, didn't work, bye, goodbye. Really quick to get rid of them. And it is a bit weird. To put it up against, again, there's so many departments. I'm sure it's a complete nightmare. The Disney fucking hierarchy and stuff. It's hard to, but I don't think their marketing department they're like, who do we focus on? And they're like Lilo and Stitch, because they had Stitch in and even then that wasn't a huge success.
No.
But they were doing like them and Lion King and all kinds of stuff, and meanwhile this was still coming out, and they were like, and this is also a thing.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's interesting.
Very weird.
And I think that concludes, unless you've got any further things to say.
No, not really. Like I thought it was awesome. I thought some of the visual differences stood out. I think that watching it now with a trained eye, it seems very apparent where they've been trying to experiment with different styles, and I don't think it works too smoothly because it was experimental at the time. But that would be literally my only complaint of the whole thing. I like that they did the father-son thing with John Silver and Jim Hawkins. I thought that was really well done and really cool. I like that they had the parrot on the shoulder character of Morph. I like that there was so much of it lifted directly from the book. I would never have known that. And I liked the very unique visual style of it. The fact that there are some characters that, like, say, are very, very detailed, and some that are incredibly basic.
Oh yeah, we never even talked about the fact that Jim and his mum are the only humans in it. Everyone else is
weird in some way. And they're very, very basically drawn. And you look at the other characters in the background, some of the side characters are equally basically drawn. They look like they're like a third draft rather than a final copy. And then you've got other ones like Kroon that are very well realized and conceptualized. But like that guy that was a tentacle beard separate from the body thing, two different people, really basically drawn. Like, not to Disney standard, in my opinion. Like, the character design is really cool and it worked, and I don't want to get hung up on it, but in terms of animation standards, it was just really very, very basic compared to what I'd expect from a Disney film. And I think that's probably because they were introducing all these different other elements to it. So I think as far as a technical showcase, I think it tried to do more than most Disney animated classics, and as a result ended up being less than most Disney animated classics. However, I think that's less important than the story and the characters and the timing and delivery and all that stuff, and I think all of that was amazing.
Such a joy. I forgot, I don't care much about the Oscars. As you all know, it's just a little fancy thing, but it's nice to know. I forgot about this. So this is 1 year after Shrek victory. So this is
Yeah.
1 year after, like, Ground Zero.
The first ever best animated film.
Yeah.
Which was Shrek. Over Monsters Inc. We don't need
Terrible.
to talk about it.
So this actually got apparently this was a complete surprise to Disney. They were, again, back to the conspiracy.
Yeah, it
they were
seems like they were
expecting
burying
this to,
it.
just to get rid of this. But this actually got a best animation
Nomination.
award. So it was up against.
It was up against Spirited Away,
Yes.
so it would have lost to
Nice,
that.
yeah.
Right, which one? Right,
And then we've got Ice Age.
Ice
which-
Age, okay, yeah.
Rubbish. Lilo and Stitch.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you,
so,
Disney,
yeah.
for putting us up against our own.
Oh, yeah,
people.
myself, yeah.
Well played. And then
Split
that
the votes.
Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, the
Mm.
horse thing, which I've watched about 5 times.
I've never
and I
seen.
do not remember what it's about.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
And then Treasure Planet. So, yeah, again, adding to the conspiracy.
So when was the first Disney Oscar win for best animated film?
That's a good question.
Because 2001 was Shrek, 2002 was Spirited Away. I knew both of those. 2003 would have been maybe Finding Nemo.
Oh, yeah, does that count? That doesn't count.
Why would that not count?
Well, it's Pixar or Disney.
Yeah, you're right. In terms of, I don't know if Disney's ever won one.
Mm.
Princess and the Frog.
He won his little special ones. Back
Yeah. But like when because by that point Disney started trying to do their own thing away from Pixar, but they made Bolt and Meet the Robinsons. They wouldn't have won any Oscars.
So confident are you?
Yeah,
Meet the Robinson.
I'm very confident. So by the time they would have won Oscars away from Pixar, you're talking Tangled was sort of their return to the foray. Tangled, Princess and the Frog, Frozen, like some of them will have won Oscars for songs or something, but I know for a fact Princess and the Frog won 2 Oscars for music, best score and best original song, but I've no idea if it won best animated film that year. And if it didn't, then yeah, I don't know what would have been the next Disney one to do so.
Yeah, freaking Shrek just
Yeah.
destroying everything. So that's, I suppose that's the end of that. I think that was lovely. That was good. We did it.
That was really lovely. It's been a while. I've missed this. This is how we started. This is all the people that are watching with us right now and stuff are there because of the Twitch. The Twitch only exists because we did the podcast.
Yeah, it was an idea to do more of this.
Yeah.
We didn't do more of this, so it's nice.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting away my pen.
It's all right. I mean, to be fair, the world did kind of go on fire a little bit, so it wasn't massively our fault. We were just trying to be cautious and careful and respectful of each other. So, you know,
I'm burping a lot. But yeah, no, that was really cool. That means it's your turn next time to be the keeper of truth.
It is.
I really love that you loved that film.
I did love that film.
I'm excited to know what you're gonna.
I kind of want to announce what my next film is already.
Do you? You know
Yeah,
in your
but
head?
no, but I should think about it more.
Okay.
I shouldn't decide.
We've
right
been on.
now.
There's been a very similar vibe because we did Moana. We did we've been on a Glen Keane kind of vibe and these guys stuff. It's kind of accidental and yet Lilo and Stitch. So I don't know. So there you go. That was the film Treasure Planet.
Oh, ooh,
I hope you enjoyed.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I think it's the most underrated of the second Dark Age that I've seen. Because the only things that could beat it are if Home on the Range or Meet the Robinsons are better. Because I've heard lots of people that love Bolt.
Yes.
And lots of people love Emperor's New Groove and Atlantis. And lots of people love Treasure Planet. But I think Treasure Planet's better than Atlantis. I think it's a better Disney film than Emperor's New Groove.
Ooh.
Emperor's New Groove is funnier than than any Disney film.
It's like the mask of Disney
But it's a Warner Brothers movie. It's actually inspired by Disney. Like the style of humor is very Looney Tunes, and which is great because that's just really funny. But yeah, I'd say this is my favorite movie that would have come out chronologically since Mulan. But I haven't really seen Tarzan, so I need to give it. But I think I prefer this over Emperor's New Groove, which is a huge thing for me to say. Like that ain't no gentle compliment. I love Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, well, it's got the jokes, but this has got the heart, right?
This has got the heart.
Has got the heart,
and I think I love its imperfections. Like I say, I know like the visual styles really stood out to me as problems. But having spoken to people and realised that most people weren't picking up on them, first of all, that's good, positive, good, because they shouldn't. But secondly, was just the fact that it didn't matter to me. Like I think that's huge. Like it's like when you talk about falling in love with someone, right?
I talk about that all the time.
Yeah, you don't want to fall in love with someone that has no flaws. That's what I have with Treasure Planet. I can see its flaws very clearly, but I don't care. I love it anyway. I think its strengths are so much more important than its shortcomings.
I think as a fan of the book, I think the way they've streamlined it into an hour and a half or whatever it was, which is really difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
They made all the right choices. I think it just kind of, again, it really works. Like they could get rid of the Ethereum and go back to, like, that could have been just a genuine one-for-one recreation of the story of Jim on a boat. And then they were just like, can we make this cool for animation? And they did. And it was like... Yeah,
the hoverboard shit was really cool. Reminded me a lot of TMNT, which we need to do a watch party for at some point, because loads of people haven't seen TMNT, and we both know it's one of the greatest animated films ever made.
Yep.
My down points, I thought that the different styles of animation kind of looked a bit clunky together. If you have a keen eye and you're looking for that stuff, it might stand out to you. But I don't think it mattered. And the other thing was, just the inconsistency with the drawing. Like, some of the characters were drawn really, really detailed, and some of them were drawn really, really basic. Which is fine, but I think it makes this one of the most uniquely inconsistent Disney movies ever. I would probably, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that rivals it. I think this is the most visually inconsistent Disney movie of all time. I'm going to say that. I can't think of another one that rivals it. Can you? Like, just the fact that so many of the characters are drawn so differently, the background is drawn so differently scene to scene. There's the three different animation styles that they utilize throughout the film. There's just not a lot of consistency with the way it looks, which I don't think is necessarily a problem, but it is a notable thing.
Well, because the backgrounds are all done by that deep stuff. So yeah, you're either saying that didn't vibe well with. It'll be interesting to see what you think of Tarzan, because they only use it for like 30 seconds in Tarzan, but he's like sliming down a...
I've seen the sliming down the trees. Like
a nasty wee fella.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is traditional animation's last best hope. They were like, we're still relevant.
See
and
that,
they were like,
but like
fucking
years later, they did Princess and the Frog, which
but that was
pure
John Lasseter. Like, because when he came in, but then he binned all sequels, and he binned so he might have even been the one that coming in to at the end of this. I can't remember the dates, so if someone's got a date, but John Lasseter came in and was like, right, we're not doing sequels, we're not doing straight to videos, we're not doing TV shows anymore. We're going back to straight animation, and I don't know if this got cut in that horrible.
I consider this is I would say Treasure Planet is my little ugly baby of Disney. Like, I love it, but it's ugly. It's an ugly little baby, but that makes it all the cuter.
All babies are ugly.
Yeah, but I'm not as in denial.
Parents need to know that.
This one's so ugly that I'm not in denial about it. Like, I'll let everyone know, like, look at my ugly baby. What's your ugly baby Disney film? Like the one that you think is the most flawed, but you love it anyway?
Well, that's a difficult question.
Yeah, it's not one I'd ever thought of until seeing this film.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely
I think
qualifies.
you might be onto something here, like, because like that's different from what do you think's not get like, because I love Lilo and Stitch. It's got like a really cool heart, but I don't think people know about it. But it's
and
not,
I don't think
not
it's an ugly. No, it's
not.
I think it's a very well realized film. If you go to Disneyland, at least Disneyland Paris, I can't speak for the other parts, but yeah, there's more Stitch than anyone other than maybe Mickey. There might be more Mickey Mouse, and I mean might. Like, I could be wrong on that. There could be more Stitch than anyone. But if anyone's got a chance, it's Mickey Mouse. And even then, it's slight. Like, the gap between Mickey and Stitch and then everyone else is huge. It's crazy. I was not expecting that at all.
Well, I remember with the podcast we did for this, it was, yeah, like there's a Japanese TV show and all kinds of stuff.
But I mean, that's the thing. The character... Like, regardless of how successful the film was, the character itself is hugely successful. So, yeah. Don't you worry about Stitch.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody who is listening to us, and everyone who's not listening to us, especially.
Yeah, you guys are great too.
Yeah. So we're going to end this podcast. What a lovely film. What a lovely person.
Thank you. Likewise.
We will continue to be talking to people in the Discord. Don't go away anywhere. And I'm going to go to the toilet, which is the most important thing, I think, in my life.
Do you have any wisdom to take away from the movie Treasure Planet, Ross?
Yeah, your dad's so right.
Okay, there you go.
Unless he's not.
Unless he fucks off and leaves you, in which case, go make friends with a cyborg.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. Treasure Planet was an absolute treat. Ross needs to pee. I need to drink some water, I think. But yeah, thank you very much. We'll be back on the next one, which will be chosen by me and revealed on our stream, twitch.tv/Ross and MiKo. But for now, thank you very much for joining us. And happily ever after with Ross and MiKo. This has been Ross.
Goodbye.
And I've been MiKo.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
I need to pee.
Okay, bye-bye.
Lady MiKo has kidnapped Ducky!
Meatball Mafia. Ding. Ding. 420 somewhere.
So, we are criminals.
Give me all your butts. Polo sucks. Whoop, 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 whoop.